Hello everyone, welcome to EduTerrain and a warm good evening to you all. Hope you all had a great day yesterday. Yesterday it was Republic Day, so I didn't plan for any class, but I didn't want to widen that gap, that 3 days gap, so I'm taking one more session today. Yes, thank you very much. So today we'll be having a topic on economic and social issues, wherein we'll be doing some questions pertaining to static part जितने भी हैं and जितने भी टॉपिक्स है, and this is common for both RBI and NABARD क्योंकि similar topics मैंने किया because since it is just starting I didn't want to get into separate topics जैसे जो बहुत ज़्यादा different है. I'm focusing on the basic ones in this particular session. Basics से हम लोग will move towards advanced type of questions. So important questions, easiest ones only. And without wasting much time, with all that enthusiasm, let's start today's session. So the first question is the gender budgeting. Gender budgeting is something that is preparing budgets from a gender perspective that aims to break down the government's mainstream budget according to its impact on women and men for gender neutral and gender sensitive sectors. Okay, now which among the following is not true related to gender budgeting in India? जेंडर बजटिंग इंडिया में बहुत पहले से है. इट्स नथिंग बट जितने भी हम लोग वॉट एवर द budget that is being prepared by the government, what they do is they try to understand how much it is being spent on the women and men, thereby understanding whether we are able to do it judiciously or not. Okay, and final aim or final goal of this is for the empowerment of women wherever there are issues that are being faced by them. Now I'll read out the options, then you can decide which is the right answer. It was introduced in the 2005-06 budget. The gender budget is divided into two parts. Part A highlights the women-specific schemes with 100% allocation for women itself, like those schemes that are exclusively designed for them by the Ministry of Women and Child Development. उसमें भी कई सारे ऐसे schemes हैं that are exclusively for women only. Okay, जैसे निर्भया वाला हो गया या फिर कई सारे ऐसे schemes हैं उनके पास, संभाल, कई सारे हैं. Part B highlights schemes where at least 30% of the allocation is for women. जैसे these are those schemes run by various other ministries. Ministry of Social Justice हो गया या फिर Rural Development हो गया, कई सारे ऐसे ministries है जो कई कई schemes run कर रहे हैं. And 30% at least जो भी schemes उसमें that all fall under the Part B. This is what the question has to say. Now you have to tell me which of these statements is wrong. Yes. Here the correct answer is none of the above because all of these statements are true. Sorry, ये कल वाला ऑप्शन होगा जो मैंने पुराने वाले पीपीटी में ही नए क्वेश्चंस अपडेट किए थे. Sorry for the goof up, but answer is none of the above. So if we talk about budget that is being presented, you have to be very very careful. Every year अभी latest interim budget आने वाला है. After that the final budget will come, maybe after the exams or before the exams, but whatever the latest budget that would be there, that would be important for your examination. Okay, and उसमें gender budget जो भी उन्होंने allocate किया है, that would be important for your exam as well, exclusively for ESI purpose as well as the regular current affairs also, like जनरल अवेयरनेस पेपर में वहाँ पे भी इम्पोर्टेंट रहेगा. अगर लास्ट ईयर का देखा जाए तो दैट इज 2023-24, इट वाज 2.23 lakh crores that has been allocated under the gender budget, that is exclusively for women, and ये 2.12% higher than the revised estimates of the previous year budget. Okay, and the estimated total budget stood at 4.96% of the total expenditure. This is the percentage and this is the figure last year. Just for estimation I have given you, otherwise जो latest है वो figures याद रखना सबसे important है. Total budget कितना हमारा last year का 45 lakh crores है and उसमें 2.23 lakh crores exclusively for gender. Moving on to our next question. This particular article is to provide free and compulsory education of all children in the age group of 6 to 40 years as a fundamental right. Please careful, क्योंकि यहाँ दो ऐसे आर्टिकल्स है वेयर एक में है 6 to 14 years ऑफ एज में कंपलसरी फ्री एंड कंपलसरी एजुकेशन विच यू कैन से राइट टू एजुकेशन एक्ट आरटीई वाला है एंड दैट फॉर्म्स एज ए फंडामेंटल राइट. एक और स्टेट डायरेक्टिव प्रिंसिपल्स का है एक और आर्टिकल दैट ऑल्सो है मेंशन्ड हियर सो एज टू अवॉइड दैट कंफ्यूजन. जब एक्सप्लेनेशन का पार्ट आएगा देयर आई टेल यू. Okay, in such a manner as a state may by law determine. Now you tell me which is the article of constitution that we are talking about here. Yes. Good evening, Avni. Yes, this particular article is to provide free and compulsory education of all children in the age group of 6 to 14 years as a fundamental right in such a manner as a state may by law determine. Now what is the article of constitution that we are talking about here? Here the article that we are talking about is article 21A. Okay, दूसरा आर्टिकल जो मैं बता रही थी that is state directive principles में आता है, that is state's responsibility up to 6 years of age. Okay, but prior to 2002 actually article 45 में ही 6 to 14 years up to 14 years तक था. Okay, but later we wanted to give it a status of fundamental right, that is right to education. So what they have done is article 21 में एक clause insert करके 21A हमने बनाया है where we took it as the RTE Act, that is article associated with the fundamental right related to education from 6 to 14 years, and उसी time पे in the same year 2002 itself we have amended this article as well. दोनों का amendment एक ही इसमें हुआ था. Okay, एक ही टाइम पे हुआ था and we have said that for article 45 it would be up to 6 years. That would be the responsibility of the state to look after the education of that particular child. Okay, here the correct answer is 21A. See, 45 this is, and it was the 86th amendment 2002 in which the changes have been done. Article 21A is a fundamental right, part 3 of the constitution. Article 45 is a directive principle of the state policy under part 4. Okay, जो पहले article 45 में ही था ये सारे up to 14 years of age, but after that we have segregated in 2002. Okay, moving on to our next question. The term justice in our preamble adopts few distinct forms in our constitution which are further secured through various provisions of fundamental rights and directive principles. Directive principles states का है fundamental rights and all that would be for the entire India, that is central. Now which among the following is not the distinct form of justice in our preamble? If we look at the distinct forms of justice in our preamble, there are 3. Okay, मैंने hint भी दे दिया है. Now you have to tell me which of these is not the distinct form of justice in our preamble. Yes. See, when we talk about justice in our preamble, it focuses on 3 major parts, or you can say in 3 distinct forms it is considered, and that is social justice, political justice and economical justice, and secular is not a part of this, as you can see here. Okay, yes. Moving on to our next question. Which among the following is not among the major principles of social justice? Now when we talk about social justice, there are 5 major principles, or you can say pillars of social justice on which it stands. Okay, now you have to tell me, yes, which of these is not a major principle of social justice? Access to resources, it is a part. Equity, it is a part. Diversity, it is a part. Democracy, it is not a part. And human rights, it is a part. Okay, it is democracy which is not part of that. Access to resources, equity, participation, diversity and human rights. These are the 5 major principles of social justice, which actually means equal social opportunities are available to every person for the personal development of every person without a discrimination based on race, sex, caste, creed, religion, anything. Okay. Moving on to our next question. The notion of social justice originated in the 19th century with the primary goal of minimizing the exploitation faced by specific marginalized groups. तो हमने बहुत कुछ डेवलपमेंट किया है. वी हैवेंट, इट्स नॉट दैट वी हैवेंट डन एनी डेवलपमेंट इन दैट पार्ट. हमने बहुत कुछ किया है. सो व्हाट नाउ मेजॉरिटी ऑफ द इकोनॉमिस्ट एंड अदर्स, what they have to say is the focus of the concept has now shifted. Okay, how has the focus of this concept shifted in the present circumstances? किसकी तरफ गया है अभी? पहले हम लोग बोलते थे social justice, but now rather than that word, one of these words is being used a lot. Because now we are looking at the entire human race. Whatever the exploitation that was being faced by specific marginalized group, we were able to recover a lot on those terms. Yes, anyone? I can see that students are there. Okay. Let me give you the answer. It is human rights. पहले social justice हुआ करता था, but now the focus has been shifted to human rights, bringing everyone together. Okay, it is the human rights that we are talking about. Moving on to our next question from poverty. Now, when we talk about poverty, we say that it is lack of financial resources for a particular any person to live or to lead a dignified life, right? Now, according to the World Bank, it has given a definition for the poverty, which says it is multi-dimensional. It's not simple. एक हमने बोल दिया कि financial resources की कमी है, but there are various other concepts associated with it. So they say poverty is a multi-dimensional concept that has to be addressed in the same manner. Okay. Now, here, which among the following best describes the term poverty as described by the World Bank? There are 5 options that I have given, that is, and from that you have to say which you have to tell me which among them fit into the term poverty as described by the World Bank. Hint भी मैंने दे दिया है. It is multidimensional. Yes. Low levels of health and education. Obviously, that's true. Inadequate physical security. That is also true. Inability to acquire the basic goods and services necessary for survival with dignity. Actually, this is what the main one. All other, they follow this particular point. Okay. Lack of voice. This is also true. Yes, it is, as I've said, multidimensional. If in any place, if they're not able to raise their voice or tell with complete freedom, then you can say that they are reeling under poverty only. Low incomes, obviously. So all these are part of poverty. See, World Bank described poverty as a multi-dimensional aspect, which is a state of deprivation in well-being and comprises many dimensions. Low incomes, inability to acquire the basic goods and services, low health levels of health and education, poor access to clean water and sanitation, inadequate physical security, lack of voice, insufficient capacity and opportunity to better one's life. All these fall under the same topic. Now, when we talk about poverty, there is one called the poverty line. Poverty line is nothing but there is a set of goods and that is basket products that one, if It's something where they can afford to lead a dignified life. Okay, if it falls below that line, then we can say they're reeling under poverty. That is BPL, below poverty line. We say that one. And above that, we can say that sufficient. Whatever that they have there, they have everything sufficient. Now, in order to understand this poverty line, estimate this poverty line, there are various methods provided or propounded by various committees or members, or you can say economists. Now, one of these, and there are, as I've said, various methods. One of those methods is the latest. This is modified mixed reference period. Now, you have to tell me which of these following committees is the first committee to adopt modified mixed reference period for poverty line estimation. Yes. See, in this, all these are committees. But actually this is not VM Dandekar and rather it is not a officially formed committee. These are two economists working together, and they have come up with, for the first time, they tried poverty line estimation using authentic data or using a source of data. Earlier, prior to that, various other economists, based on the committees, they tried to come up with the poverty line estimation, but again, based on the whatever data that was available earlier, not from the latest data like your NSO data, etc. But these two people are the one economist, they have tried that for the first time. Yes, and here the committee that has adopted modified mixed reference period for the first time for poverty line estimation was Rangajan committee. It was instituted in 2012 and they submitted their report in 2014. And here they have done an independent large survey of households by Center for Monitoring Indian Economy, CMIE, which is very, very famous for your data related to unemployment, etc. Daily data that all you can get it from this particular organization. Okay. So according to this committee, poverty line, it is, they have kept it as a person spending below 47 rupees per day in cities and 32 rupees in villages can be considered poor. So this is the poverty line that they have mentioned. And here, instead of the regular mixed reference period, there are three kinds of reference periods that are used for poverty line estimation. So what is poverty line? As I've said, poverty line basket, let's try to understand. It is a set of goods and services that are required by the person to lead a dignified life. That entire goods, whatever the cost that is associated with that you can say as poverty line. Simpler language I am telling you. Now, that poverty line can be counted or can be measured through various methods that include three methods: uniform reference resource period, that is URP, mixed reference period, MRP, modified mixed reference period, that is MMRP. Now here, uniform resource period, whatever that poverty line basket, whatever the goods and services that are there, they estimate that last 30 days, 30-day recall period. If they ask a person, they'll ask him last 30 days में आपने क्या क्या खर्च किया and what you have based your expenditure. So based on that, they'll say, okay, this person has spent this much of amount, and accordingly, by mathematical and economical principles, they'll apply and come up with that poverty line, right? But that's not true, because some things like education, health, etc., once in a while, once in a year or so, or once in a particular period of time, we'll be spending money on that. But when it comes to the daily necessities like FMCG goods or food items, etc., that we have to spend on a daily basis, so the large difference. So in order to give that, what you will say, different lines of thought, what they have come up with was mixed reference period. Here they said that they started from 1999 2000 onwards. 5 low frequency items they'll ask for over a period of 1 year, and all other items over the previous 30 days. So isme what are those 5 items? Clothing, footwear, durables, education and institutional health expenditure. Fine. But again, Rangarajan committee said, no, this is also not, it also doesn't fit well. We'll come up with a modified mixed reference period. 365 days for clothing, footwear, education, institutional medical care, durable goods. For that, 7 days for edible oil, egg, fish, meat, vegetables, fruits, spices, beverages, etc. And 30 days for remaining items like fuel and light, miscellaneous goods and services like non-institutional medical expenditure, rents, taxes, etc. So this way they have come up with this. This is the latest one. Okay. Yes, moving on to our next question. Now here, what is the proportion of the population below the poverty line called as? Don't get confused with the BPL, below poverty line. Read the question again properly. Here I am talking about the proportion of population below poverty line. That is the percentage of population below the poverty line. That is the BPL people. What is the proportion of them to the total population? Okay, in simpler terms. So that correct answer is either poverty ratio it's called, or head count ratio. Okay. See, it is the proportion of population below the poverty line, and just now we have discussed PLB, basket of goods and services necessary to satisfy basic human needs are called as PLB. Now the amount that is spent to get this PLB would be the PL only. Below that would be the BPL. Okay. Yes. Which among the following types of unemployment arises when workers are searching for new jobs or are transitioning from one job to another? Yes. Which among the following types of unemployment arises when workers are searching for new jobs or are transitioning from one job to another? See, here structural employment is something where suddenly some new technology has come or some new policy has come that leads to sudden unemployment. Like इससे पहले एक particular job है, X job, अब उसके लिए गवर्नमेंट ने बोला है 10th पास चलेगा. Okay. So job मिल जाते थे, but suddenly they have said no. Now we want someone who has passed degree. So now majority of them now fall into unemployment. That's structural. Or some new technology has come which they were not able to adapt to. Then also unemployment. So such kind is structural unemployment, which is not related to this. Disguised unemployment is many people, less work. Okay, that kind of unemployment, that also doesn't fall under this. Cyclical, in rotation it comes suddenly, because of that business cycle itself. For few days there would be lot of requirement of people, and suddenly there would be less requirement, making people these companies to remove them or keep them aside. Cyclical unemployment. So here the unemployment that rises when workers searching for a new job or transitioning, that is frictional unemployment. Okay. Yes, Avani, that's true. It's frictional unemployment that we are talking about. Okay, again I have explained everything here. Now, when we talk about unemployment, there are various strategies that needs to be taken up in order to reduce unemployment, right? So for which there are various policies. There are two major types of strategies that can be used. Now, deregulation, privatization, free trade agreements, tax cuts, these are the tools or policies used under which kind of strategies. As I said, there are two kinds of strategies for reducing unemployment. One that is taken up by the central government, the other set of tools or policies, that is other set of strategy that is taken up by the RBI. Okay, now you have to tell me deregulation, privatization, free trade agreement, tax cuts, all the tools, policies, and strategies. So obviously that after looking into that, you can say it's a government related initiatives that are being taken up. Always this is done to increase the supply of resources, that is supply side policies. Whenever central bank takes up, it tries to create the demand, thereby that all falls under demand side policies. Monetary policy, fiscal policy, devaluation, quantitative easing. So when the government policies to increase economic growth are focused on trying to increase aggregate demand, then it is termed as a demand side policies. Okay, this generally RBI is the one that looks into this, and supply side policies generally it is the government of India, central government, that looks into this, thereby creating a supply into the market, and demand, they try to generate the demand here. Okay, yes, so this is all from my end. Thank you very much for being so patient. Yes, now the forum is open for your queries, questions, comments on today's session, any suggestion, all are welcome. Yes, these are the links through which you can reach out to me. All these links I have already added in the description box. Yes, one of the students yesterday, he was asking how many languages I know. See, I know English, Hindi and Telugu as well. If anyone of you are from the Telugu states, and if you feel more comfortable in asking me questions in Telugu, I'll be more than happy to answer them. Yes, any questions? If not, I'll wind up the session, and after this we'll be meeting on Monday, and from Monday we'll be having anyways I have already started current affairs classes on my app. Every day they are at 8:30 a.m. in the morning. Okay, so prior to that, before that class, a day prior to that, I am uploading the current affairs content of that particular day. You can go through that and prepare for this session, so that we can do some practice MCQs. Nothing, we are not going to do anything much in this, but yes, good amount of practice questions, most important ones. Okay, and from Monday I'm planning to start classes for ARD static as well, and ESA as well. Okay, so we'll be having regular classes from now related to the courses. But again, I'll be running the course is free for a few more days, so that you can have a taste of what we are providing on this app, that is EduTerrain. Okay, so as I can see, queries are coming. I'm winding up the session. See you all on Monday then, either in the app session classes or on the YouTube session. Thank you very much once again. Have a great weekend ahead. Please take good care of yourself. See you all on Monday then. Take care. Bye bye.